Now in this video I have a little JVC 5-inch television, colour one, CX-60ME. Also calls it a monitor because it's got AV inputs. Runs off 12 volts. What do we got here? Colour system, auto and CCAM. And a couple of different frequencies, 5.5 or 6.5 meg for the sound. Looks like UK, Hong Kong, they're the 6.5 I think. And we're the 5.5 in Australia. And this thing basically doesn't work. Other than that I don't know much. Looks an awful lot like another Asian TV I think I got here somewhere, but it says made in Japan. So hopefully it is. I think it looks the same. Yeah, this tracked-on thing. Yeah, this is the one I was thinking it looks similar to, and it does look rather similar to it. Which is a tracked-on brand, which is definitely not a great quality thing normally. Manufactured May 88, made in Taiwan. Yeah, my god, they really are similar. Even got the same band switch, unless JVC originally made this. Guess it hasn't got a date on it. In Japan, and then shifted it over because it was around that sort of late 80s era they started, not so much to Taiwan, more to Korea, or Korea started competing. So yeah, I think these are possibly the same TV, which might make life easier if I need to dig in there. Chances are they're both going to have a Japanese tube in them, but that one looks, it's more got the round sort of dot pitch. That's got the lines. I mean, they're both going to be inline tubes, but that's got the little, like a national, so that's probably, what's the bet? That's a Matsushita tube in that one. I think they're like a little hexagonal sort of cell. More of that sort of layout than obvious straight lines. I can't really see them, they're so small. But yeah, they look like they're the Panasonic type little cells. Sort of scattered about. More like a beehive kind of matrix of hexagonal things, whereas these are just the straight lines. So I wonder who made that tube. You'd think it'd still be a Japanese tube. Very similar. That one's been broken a bit. But you've got AFC on and off, power in, aerial, the backs. Pretty much identical. And that side here, we're already a quick look at, but yeah, besides the obviously different styling, we've got V-old, colour, bright, picture, yeah, TV sound. This one's got a colour system, that one doesn't. You can see it's probably got the ability to fit one in there somewhere, so that's interesting. So this power pack on this one, I assume is going to be the same. 12 volt, positive, outer. Oh no, they've actually changed it around, that'll be right. Yeah, it's got a negative tip. This has got a positive tip, so that's the more standard. Got a different size plug anyway, so that one is definitely not going in there. So there you have it. I did think it looked an awful lot, and that was just going by memory, that it looked an awful lot like this TV, and it turns out it is very similar. I'm expecting these are probably the same design inside. But for now, that one does run, besides having a bit of a broken power socket area. This one I believe does not run. And I just hope it hasn't been used as a parts unit or something. Because I think the eBay seller had a second one for sale, which of course I didn't notice until after I bought this one. Always the way. Looks like someone's been in it. I can see the marks down the side there. Do we need to, I've probably got to take this off. It's got a little plastic thing there. Does the bottom come off? Unlikely, but it may. So that's going to be half the problem, is working out how to get it apart. Normally you don't have to take the antenna off, but sometimes there can be a connection to something metal in there, so I might just remove that just to whoop, not stress out about it. Here we go, and it's just the other volume knob has to come off. Yeah, the two knobs definitely had to come off. Then it was just a matter of getting the clips to release. And I've got a blue screw in there, that's a very Japanese thing. Yeah, definitely Matsushita picture tube, which they're the only ones I think ever use that pattern. So you've got to unplug the speaker. Always got to be careful taking these off, you don't tear the speaker off, because some of them aren't attached to the cover very well, some of the Chinese TVs and stuff, and if you go about taking the back cover off like you normally would, you end up tearing the speaker wires, potentially the little terminal off the speaker. So what else can I say about it? Not a lot, awful lot of dust in it, bit of corrosion, nothing bad, but yeah, a bit of blackening on the tuner and stuff, pretty normal. They didn't coat them with much. 150 CHB 22, 83, so I wonder if that's a year, possibly. This more than likely came out in the sort of around that era, earlier 80s. It kind of looks with the green print on the board. It does look like it probably is a JVC board. No guarantee though. It's been so long since I've seen one, it's hard to remember. A little bit of corrosion on that connector maybe, with a normal service switch somewhere. Maybe, I can't see the switch though, it says service or normal. So the main thing will be get some voltage in this. At least the tube looks intact. Doesn't mean it is, but oh well, we'll see if we can get some power. What's the easiest way to do it? I might even have to take this bottom board off. Take that aerial connection out of the way. How do we get the bottom board off? I'd say it's just screwed to the other board. Chances are we're going to have to get that far anyway. And then usually it unclips from the front. Got a screw near the line output. Do we have clips and stuff? I can already see a clip thing there. And then we've got the problem of this is in the way. So it's not going to be quite that easy to get it apart. I can see a fuse holder in there. I wonder if that's the positive. How's this board? Screw there. Another screw there, but I don't think that's... Yeah, the board's kind of loose. And then it's plugged into the other board. So there's a clip there. Question is, how many more screws do I need to undo? There's another clip there. That's getting the board coming loose. Looks like we've got to tilt this. I'm not sure this is going to come apart easily, because the board's got to be tilted off, slid sideways basically. You've got to be super careful. I might even take the neck board off with these tubes. They're so easy to break. Still got the teat on it, so I'd say it's okay. Now, how does this front... We've got one clip out there. We've still got pots sticking through, so they're gonna have to come free. It doesn't feel like us. It's one of these. Some of these you had to bend them on a hell of an angle to get them to free themselves. Must be got to press that in. I was just thinking some of these you had to press on a little bit. Yeah, that's it. That's what allows you to then tilt the tube up. As bad as it sounds. Yeah, this is familiar. I never worked on many of these things. There just weren't that many around for a start, and generally they were very reliable anyway. Come on out, you come switch. That's it. So we're getting somewhere. I guess we can undo that. Loosen that off. We've got the yoke. Might even pull that out, but always remember to plug it back in. Got the earth on the tube, and really there's only one other connector to the front which can come out. So that's quite a nice little design. Where does our earth go? All the way back to the neck board and probably soldered on. Oh, that's quite a good design, this one, to work on. Though plugging the tube in is probably not so easy, but at the moment, what does it say here? Kimura Kogyoko. Something like that. Oh, we've got a date. I see an 85, 85, 86, and 87, and I'm not really sure. Everything's got a little dot on it, so I don't know which year it was made, if that is the year. Okay, but at least we've got the board out. And we should be able to connect up to this power now. 11 volt adjustment. 250 volt T2 amp fuse, a slow blow fuse. Yeah, we've got some dryish looking joints on there. There's a bit of corrosion on one of the pins, looks a bit black. Yeah, another not so good connection there. So these are the sort of things that get flexed around. Even me just pulling it apart probably flexed it quite a bit and made them even worse. But yeah, it doesn't look like any broken circuit board or anything obvious, which is a good thing. Yeah, this is the ground going across to this big thing here. That looks like a ground, another big piece of metal, etc. I don't think this has got batteries in it, so the other two are probably joined together yet. Other two pins on the socket, they're not switching anything. Nowhere to put any batteries in this thing. So it was never made to be fully portable in that sense, more a caravan TV type of setup. And like I say, I think I'll plug the yoke back in until I know that this thing definitely doesn't run. And what's the other one? That's just an LED on the front. That might be handy to have there if it's a power indicator, or it might just be tuning or something. Neck board, doesn't matter if that's floating around. Ah, get on there. Fiddly little thing. That's it. That is a power light. Where did that plug in? Oh, right over there. Well, that isn't going on in a hurry. And make sure I'm not shorting on anything metal. Ooh, I heard the tube do something. I think I've got an EHT there. Oh, well, that's promising. Maybe there's not a lot wrong with this thing. Worth pulling it to bits to give it a service anyway. So it could be a muted picture because it's got vertical collapse or something like that, who knows. Let's put the LED back on. So just make sure, always make sure there's no metal work that can touch on anything, because you never know where these things are shooting and stuff. Oh, that's got a bit more length than I thought. Okay, let's look it up again. Oh, we've got power light. So take it, the switch is on. Oh yeah, we've got a raster disappeared. Oh yeah, we've got a raster actually lighting up now. So we're getting that far. Now, are we on AV input or anything? AFC, TVC. Oh, how do we switch it to AV? Oh, it was one of these switches which have vanished. Where are they? Oh, these two little things. And that's all it does, I think. We're not going to get... Oh, do we have snow? Oh, I think we do have snow. I guess we've got no audio as well, which is a pain. And it's plugged in here, hiding behind the sockets. Okay. Can hear the audio do something. Now I can actually hear the horizontal running. And it's gone quiet. It was noisy. Oh, there it is again. Oh, here we go. We've got snow this time. So this is a bit random. That's the... Yeah, oh, now the snow doesn't come up. When we get snow, that's when you can hear the horizontal. Huh, very weird. Oh, we had snow. So if that's those dry joints I was looking at. But we have intermittent snow coming up, otherwise a blank screen. No, Is that the switch? Yeah, when I touch that switch, it's... Yeah, if I hold that switch still, so maybe that's the issue. Oh, now lifting it up is enough to get some snow on it, and then it's gone again. I can hear it come back up on that speaker, a bit of hash sound, and it's gone to a white screen. So it's either the dry joints or that switch is dicky. Hard to know at this stage which. And the fact that we've got snow there suggests it's basically running. And that's the AV. We should be able to hook some video into that. Oh yes, we have Tour de France or whatever that is. It wouldn't be the it could be the Tour de France this time of year, couldn't it? I forgot it's tour time. Now where's the volume? That's that one. Cool, not much sound. Very noisy.
Left and left onto the beach, and then they'll see the finish line.
A nice little picture there. So I need to clean that. Seems to be okay in AV, pretty stable. It's just when you go to the RF, well, it's back now. Well, okay, it's not that stable, so that switch needs a clean, I think. So there's nothing really wrong with this TV. But definitely due for a dry joint resolder and probably clean a few things, get all the dust out of it, and it might be a goer. Get out the switch cleaner lubricant. I'm going to brush that dust off that pot, I think. It's got a lot of dust on there. Don't really want to risk squirting any of it in there. Yeah, come out the other side. Well, now we've lost horizontal sync. That's still not real good. So it could be this switch being dicky is causing all sorts of issues. Just being careful where we touch the can and stuff in this thing because it's on. Now that's better. That gives me more volume. That's all it is, I think. Dicky pot, dicky switch. Yeah, it is the Tour de France. So it's looking a bit washed out in this light, but generally working quite well now. They're never the highest resolution, these little sets, but it's not a bad picture. No, not Harvey Norman. Yeah, not as loud as they usually are, thank God. So what I'll do is I'll get the power off this thing. I might even change the power socket on this to a more standard one. While I'm in here, it should be able to just fit a standard power socket with a smaller pin on it. And let's get the speaker off. I'll take this outside and give it a good dust as well. And I want to resolder, and there's that corrosion there. Just being careful with this tube again, which is starting to come quite loose now. Possibly I should discharge this and remove it completely. I think that might even be the best option, then I can work on the board a bit easier. And I'll leave the first strap on there while we do this, if there's anything even there. But that's where you want to short to. And you can just use a screwdriver. Yep, a little bit of a pop and spark. And another one. Sometimes it pays to do it a few times, because these can build up a little bit of a charge again. As you sometimes find when you touch the alder cap on the tube after it discharging it, it may build up a little bit of a charge and give you a little bit of a boot. Now we can't unplug this one. It's got to be unsoldered. So I'm going to have to take the solder blob off to make it easy to reinstall. Oh, we've got the LED still plugged in. So everything in pieces, that's more like it. Although, what do we got here? That's not degaussing, I don't think. I don't know, is that an FM antenna or something? It's got something going around the inside. Hey, here we go. Oh yeah, I bet that goes to the... Maybe it's even a TV antenna. I don't think this thing's got a radio in it, so it must be a TV antenna. Which bit do I press? Or do I lift? Lift. So yeah, some sort of loop which goes onto this plug, which definitely goes to the antenna board. It goes in there and there. Yeah, it looks like it goes across the antenna. So there you go. They had an inbuilt antenna other than the, well, slightly broken one here. Unfortunately, that's very broken. Not that you can pick up anything on RF anymore anyway. A lot of dust in there. Look at these lumps of dust. I think there's some capacitors under there, yeah. A couple of these caps have got the old shrink back plastic on them, which is often a sign they've been hot. Not always the case. Some of them even came out of the factory like that, so they're worth a check. The horizontal section will give a possibly resoldered. To be fair, it looks pretty good. It's mainly just these connectors, and I'll clean that off. So I'll take that out and dust it off. Okay, and there is a bit of dust by the look of it in there, as you'd expect with the age of this thing, so I might just take the tube off the front. I might just discharge it one more time, so it's going to be handling it a bit more. Tiny little spark there, just because I don't want to accidentally touch it and drop it or something, because it gave me a shock, which probably wouldn't happen, but you never know. Since a strong enough bit of electricity will make your muscles do involuntary things, so you don't want to be holding something like this and touch it in case it does make you let go, even if you didn't choose to. Yeah, so the LEDs kind of attached to the tube, so I think we'll take that off. So just a very flat sort of tube. Yeah, there's quite a bit of dirt on the front of that. It's certainly not as shiny as it should be. Dead moth or something in there. This, I think this comes off. It looks like it's designed to. Of course, not so easy to do without knowing how you do it. Oh yeah. So that probably can be removed from the front with a little bit of careful extraction. And plenty of dirt around the edges of it, not surprising given its age. You just got to be careful you don't leave more dust in here. But at least I know that comes off now, so that's a good sign that we can always clean it. If there's mainly this bits of dust down the bottom here showed up. And yeah, now I can see a lot more dust around the edges. Which, getting that out of there, since you can see it through the clear plastic, will definitely improve things and make it look a lot better. On-off button a bit of a clean too. But that actually should come up pretty good. Other than whatever that lump of stuff is, that will come off hopefully. I think that's pretty dust free. Still a bit on the inside of that, I can see. Paste to get it in the right light. Few scratches and stuff, of course, so it's not going to be mint. It goes one way only by the look of it. The other thing is, if they're bad, is just get rid of them. Since they unclip, you can basically chuck the thing away and probably look better without it. Yeah, watch that. I still don't want to touch that older cap thing if I can help it, just in case there's any HV there. That's coming off. I thought there was still some marks stuck on there, but that's polished up nice. Yeah, much better. Yeah, which way around did it go? That way, I think. Yeah, with the LED over there. Something hasn't set back in. There we go. I need to go quickly over these connectors, particularly the end pins are always ones that seem to break. I guess I should treat this board with a bit of respect, but there's no switch mode power supply in this. There shouldn't be anything charged up, but if in doubt, just leave it for a day or so to discharge. If everything's running, it should discharge down fine. It's usually only when they're faulty that things stay charged up, but you never know for sure. I think that one almost wants all of them doing. Don't think they're actually faulty, but they just don't look as nice and clean as they should be, nice and shiny. And this one's got corrosion on a couple, so we'll see if we can just resolder that and clean that up. Is that pin working? I think that pin might be a little bit too corroded. No, that's alright. That's the way it looks in the light, I think. I'm just careful we're not shorting anything out. I'll check that over. No, that looks fine. Pretty sure all that board looked good. We'll just check a few things around the power and the like. Those connectors are good now. Power switch. Always good to check these pots and other controls. I've still got a bit of dust on those too, because people have access to them. I think we have to clean that to get them clean. It's actually dirt. Anything that people can touch potentially is going to get bumped around. Just the fact that it sticks out the side of the case means it might get knocked into something. Line output well soldered, as in the transformer. Where's the vertical output in this thing, I wonder? Oh, I was going to check those caps too. That might be the service switch on the back there. And that's H center. And V center pot as well. So you can get your geometry right with those if it's gotten out. The vertical on this may be those two little transistors there. I reckon it's not going to be very powerful or even need a heatsink necessarily. There is a capacitor there which is slightly going dry joint, C413. That diode's not the best there either. There's a diode, this thing next to it was one of those joints. Yeah, 413, it was that one, wasn't it? I'll go with one of the pins on that vertical chip, or vertical transistor. I think it's a vertical output. You can probably trace it back from the yoke here somewhere, or some go over that way. Looks pretty good. What was I going to do? Clean those pot shafts that are a bit dirty. Even though I've brushed most of the dust off, that one has got something holding the dust on. Possibly a sticky drink or something. It might just be the grease out of the actual pot or something. Sometimes they have a bit of greasy stuff that then goes hard and sticky. Yeah, well, that is well attached. Yeah, there's a great big bundle of it wrapped around that one. So I'll say there's a bit of oily stuff that's come out of those pots and probably hardened and gone sticky and horrible. Also clean the switch shafts while we're at it. And what have we got here? That's the tuning dial, I guess. Pointer. There is a switch under there. Is that our service switch? That must be, yeah, it must be. So that's hidden in this IF can thing down the bottom there. Little white lever there. I guess I probably should give that switch, I forget what it was, but we'll give that a clean as well. What was the other one for? AFT or something, was it? Oh, UHF, VHF, yeah, better do that. Oh, better sort out this socket. Oh, my wire's starting to come off anyway. See if I can find one to replace it. Because that's got a great big pin. Is that the standard pin out? It should be, I think. Yeah, one of them like that. That's a brand new one by the look of it. And a couple of used ones of various sorts. But I think I'll put that one in, then we've got a standard setup. Okay, we'll unsolder this socket. Unfortunately, it's not the easiest thing to change the polarity on. Otherwise, I'd probably make it positive tip as well, but with a bit of board track cutting, you could do it. But I don't think it's that important. As long as it matches the label, we'll probably do. I think we'll get rid of this large pin version, because that is a bit of a pain. There's not many of those bigger plugs around. I'm sure I can still buy them from JCar or somewhere, but let's see if it does basically fit. It's not quite as big a piece of plastic is the only problem. I think the pins are pretty much identical. They are. And I mean, I don't know, the holes. Yeah, that does sort of block off. This one's probably not going to fill the hole right in. Not perfect, and it is changing it from original, but so I might as well keep that socket, I guess, even though it's probably no use. And we should be able to get this board back in. Actually, one thing I might do is I can clean those little holes out, and I can clean that whole piece maybe while I'm at it, because the label's pretty dirty. It's a lot easier without all those pots sticking through it. I'm not sure it's going to come out real clean. It's got a power sub color adjustment there. Looks like we must have a sub brightness as well, maybe, and a sub. Are they actual pots in there? I'll look at that in a minute, but we've got holes drilled next to each of these pots. That one says power sub color. Oh yeah, well, there's little trim pots there. I didn't even notice that before. So I assume each one's a sub control for the pot next to it. Don't think the Panasonic one had that. Well, not Panasonic, Tracton, whatever it was, same thing. I think there's a Panasonic badged version as well. I was pretty sure the one I had was a Panasonic, but I'm pretty sure that other model came out under a few different brands. It might be a Princess or something as well, since they're all kind of from the same company. Or maybe, I think Princess became Panasonic. So if there's a Panasonic, Princess was probably dead as a brand name by then. Not the easiest little clips to get in. And we're gonna, oh yeah, this could do with a bit of a clean as well while I'm at it. Oh, we don't have to worry about the socket because that's new. Bit of dust in there still. So that one basically just sits in place. I think yeah, the cover just comes down. It just sort of sits there. Now we've got to get this on here, the dial part. I don't know if you see any of this, but I'll give that a clean anyway. That black bit I think does show through the hole. Should be able to fit the tube back on. And we'll plug our, there's an LED in there. Always keep that out so you know that it's there. Where's our earth wire gone? Where is our earth wire gone? What the? It's fallen off. Son of a... Yeah, it's lying on the floor near the door, so wasn't much holding that on. Always want to make sure you get that earth back in place, or you might get some weird crackling and carrying on from the EHT. I guess we better get this mechanically mounted first, make sure that's going to work. Should be kind of able to tilt it. I've got to get these little bits under, yeah, like that. And something's hitting here, what's going on? I've got to make sure our power switch is pressing, and we're just going to mainly press these bits in, I think, until they click. Yeah, that's it. I probably should have plugged the yoke in before I put it back together like this. Of course the connector's gone to the wrong side. Not the nicest connectors to plug in these ones. I think we're on, or not. That's it. That's got it. Definitely want to solder that earth wire on before we forget it. Oh, is that the end that went? Oh, no, that's it. It's got an actual crimped on bit at the baseboard end, or neckboard end. Let's see if we can push that down through the hole. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it just slipped off, didn't it? Oh, did it? No, it didn't. Just make sure that's coming through the solder nicely. It'll probably push through a bit further with a bit of heat on it. good. So I've got the yoke in. I'll plug our little antenna back in. I haven't put the EHT back on yet. Let's make sure that goes on. Get one side under and then spring it across, making sure you get that under, and it's definitely under on both sides. Don't want that popping off. Mainly because it's, you know, potential risks of damaging some electronics if you've got that sort of voltage going everywhere. Now that should go in under there somewhere. Get those out of the way. Now, was that tied up anywhere? I don't think it was. I think it was just pushed down with the other wiring. Like so. That's on. They seem right. The switch works. You can see the dial pointer. I think we're pretty safe to plug that in. Feels like the right size. And we had negative tip. And positive barrel. Well, we've got an LED. And not much else at the moment. We're probably on AV mode. Here comes the raster. I think we're a little green. Height seems a little high too. Is that just because we're... Yeah, the height does seem a bit lower than before. That was the AV in, so I haven't got anything showing. Oh, because we're on... Oh, yeah, we've got the vertical hold out. I thought something like that might be out. Oh, of course, I'm leaning on the power connector there, doesn't help. And that is a monochrome picture by the look of it. Some old picture, and we definitely seem to be a bit green. Where's the colour? And when I turn the colour control, could do with a clean as well. That looks pretty good in monochrome. So brightness, yeah, definitely those pots need a clean. What's flickering? Colour, where are you? Yeah, definitely needs more brightness. And we haven't got any audio because we haven't got a speaker plugged in. Let's give all these a bit of a squirt. I'm getting a bit of flickering carrying on. Is this the power connection? That's the power connection. Is that the wrong size? I think we've got the wrong size plug. They'll look the same. That feels like a tighter fit. That's the problem with these 2.1s and 2. Oh yeah, that is a big one, I think. This might be a bit better with a bit of wire on it. So negative tip. This is even if it's the right colour scheme. Well, it stopped it flickering. It was actually flickering and carrying on a bit just from the dodgy power connection. That looks like plenty of range. We do have those sub controls if we need them. Contrast, brightness. Still think that's a tad green. It's not bad though. You really got to check it, yeah, the highs and the lows. I don't know if it's just this program, but it seems a bit greeny. But that's probably the arty-farty stuff they're doing here. What the hell's that supposed to be? Picture does bloom a bit as it can get bigger and smaller with the brightness. We're pulling about 1.1 amps, that's not too bad. It's only a small screen, of course. If you've got a 10-inch, they'll often be quite a bit more than that, up to 4 or 5 amps. Yeah, I think that's a little on the green side. That's the green. Let's turn it down to just a little bit less green. I think's better. Probably a green highlight. Bit more red. That's the other green. Probably the low lights, I think, because yeah, that's affecting the blacks. But yeah, I think that's a bit better colour balance. Should really check the other geometry, but most of it looks like it's pretty right. Could check can't really see the writing there, but I mean it is a very small low-res screen. There goes the power again. These clip leads never want to stay on. I think it's definitely worth tweaking the focus slightly. That's the top one. I think that was slightly out, but it's not the greatest picture on earth. I think that's a bit sharper. Some more of that tiny text would be handy. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. So yeah, the PG thing and the SBS are a little bit off. I think we had a horizontal centering though, that's probably a bit too much width by the look of it. Have we got a width adjustment? We had H center, V center. I've got to watch this plug doesn't short on the thing. Now the width and stuff can also be determined, or picture size, by how well the voltage regulator is set. So it's not impossible. That's now looking a little bit too blue. That's better. That's more like it. Yeah, very low res tube. I can just read that, at least the focus is right now. Don't think there's much else I can really tweak in it. Let's hook the audio back up and just generally put it all back together, I think. I might have a quick look inside that other one to see if it is actually the same TV or very similar. I guess I shouldn't really before we put the lid back on this, and we've got JVC on the line output transformer there, interestingly. Let's have a look at some of this other one. Same trimper, so it looks like they did copy the design. I see we've got a JVC line output transformer still. Yeah, so it does have the same presets. Yeah, spot where that other power C-cam switch went, which not many people would want. Oh my god, what has happened to the tuning dial on this thing? I don't think I've ever tried to tune this in by the look of it. What has happened to the dial cord? It's rotted, I think. Must admit I haven't tried this other one yet either, so... Well, the other one turns. Seems to be like a mechanical bunch of pulleys in that one. This one they've put some sort of dial string that's all knotted up. I think we've actually got a broken pulley in there. And that's the problem when it's made in Taiwan or somewhere instead of Japan, is they've probably scrimped on the plastic quality and stuff like that. I don't think I plugged this one in, I can't remember now, so I'm going to discharge it anyway. But that's the sort of thing you find. It's basically probably operates just as well when it's working, but it doesn't last as long necessarily. And what was I do? You press those two bits in and that should release our tube. It's starting to come, and I better, someone's glued this on just to be annoying. Hopefully that's something fairly soft. I think it's just silicone-y stuff. But you want to be super careful you don't break the tube off when they got this kind of stuff on them. Yeah, it's a bit of a mongrel thing to do, sticking the socket down. Coming loose. There we go. Nearly broken, that's it. Whoops. Goes off all of a sudden. Yeah, looks like a very similar design, slightly different connector there. Be interesting to compare the two tubes side by side, maybe see if we can split the signal and watch them side by side. And oh yeah, completely different yoke connector. So that's our Hitachi. Doesn't look like, yeah, this has got a stick-on plastic cover on this one, so it doesn't have a removable front cover over the tube. TA7698, pretty much standard colour chip in all these little tellies of that sort of era. Toshiba must have made a fortune out of them. Whether they made them themselves or licensed them or whatever. So yeah, we've got a broken... What on earth is that in this dial cord? I've never seen anything like it. It's disintegrated in some way or something. What the... I don't know what happened to that. It's kind of decayed or something, as well as... I think this bit's just popped off. Hasn't actually broken, surprisingly. How exactly... That's a gear. That's a gear too. So they just happen to be toothed pulleys they used. A bit weird for something that uses a dial cord. It's actually broken by the look of it. There's a lot of dial cord. And it's got all weird bits falling off it. Maybe that's the grease that's dried up on it or something. Yeah, just brown stuff coming off it when I run my fingers down it. The cord still seems to be intact other than covered in something. Unless it is part of the cord that's coming off. So it must have sat in that little slider bit. Flick out whatever that is, a bit of black, or a bit of brown stuff in there. Is that, what is that? Yeah, I think that's part of the old dial cord. Yeah, the dial cord should just press fit in there by the look of it. I used to have a roll of new dial cord, I think, but got rid of that a long time ago. Yeah, that doesn't Doesn't grip in there. I wonder if I've got an old boombox or something with a bit of dial cord I can pinch. Not that it matters much. I don't think I'll be using this on tuner mode. But let's have a look. I should have really left the tube out of the other one. See how they compare. They look pretty similar. Neckboard's slightly different, I think. Oh, yeah, the tube socket's around the other way, probably because it's got a different tube. Got your line output tuner, big wire wound resistor, transistor, yeah, everything else very similar. Except this uses, oh, it actually uses a rubber band thing in this one, like a belt. That actually, oh, that makes a lot more sense. I wonder if that one probably had the same setup. I wonder if it broke and someone wrapped whatever the hell this is around it. Certainly doesn't look right. I think I'll toss that in the rubbish. That might make more sense of why it's got these tooth. It's got this brown muck all over everything. I think someone might have been at this thing. Which might be a good thing if we can put a kind of flat belt in here. Might be able to repair it. Although, what goes into that? Oh yeah, no, they got the belt sideways through that. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Ah, so forget the dial string. I don't think that's anything to do with this original TV at all. I was going to say, it doesn't really make sense for wrapping a dial cord around these big flat kind of pulleys. But a flat belt, yeah, that makes sense. But other than that, I think we're pretty much the same board, same switches, same chip there, yeah, same connector, same sort of slide pot connector there. Pretty much an identical TV. I guess I probably should have a look at this. Might take this board out because we've got a damaged AFC switch, which probably doesn't matter. Again, if I'm not using the tuner, I don't think anyone's going to care about that, but I might as well have a look while I got the thing apart. Ah, there's another screw there, isn't it? Oh, how did they get a screw in there? How did they get a screw in there? What the? You can't tell me they soldered the heatsink in after. That's an interesting one. I think we're going to have to use a flat blade or something. That's too big. No, it is turning it. How on earth did they get that? Yeah, must have sort of screwed it down, screwed it in as they dropped the board in. That's a weird setup, that one. Very strange. Out you come. Oh, we've got an antenna attached again. Oh, this one does have a connector too, I think. Slightly different setup. And it's going up through that hole just to make it difficult to get rid of. Yeah, that screw's rather strange. Is it going to come out? I think it's just almost jammed in there. More broken bits of plastic. That end pin, or a couple of end ones, don't look very good. Well, it's doubled up anyway, so. And this switch has been smashed pretty hard. I guess the other thing is this socket. Twisted sideways, I think. And definite dry joint on that pin. It's actually broken a bit of the circuit board track off. Oh yeah, she's not the best. It's a actually bent it, broken it a bit almost. I might even replace that as well. That one's not in very good nick. Grey one. That's a bigger pin. That's that one. That's the same pin size. Yeah, I'm going to change that. And then we'll see if I can get this switch straightened up a bit. I think the switch might be destroyed, but you never know. Oh, that screw finally fell out. So that's that switch. Let's try and get that out of there. Pins over to, I guess, help the way soldering machine stop it moving around on the production line. Oh, we've lost a pin. So it's actually broken off by the look of it. Well, that may not matter because it's only a it's only got those two. I've got a joint. Other one doesn't matter. Man, that has been pummeled a bit, but we might be able to bend that back in and repair it a bit. The end of the case is bent. That mightn't be too bad if those contacts still work in the remaining two pins. Try and get everything straight again, and hopefully it sort of fits back together. God, what's happened here? Smashed the end of that over. Gosh, you certainly got hammered. Yeah, there's an actual split in the bottom of the switch, but that shouldn't matter because that's only an insulator, as long as the little slider works above that. Let's see, let's put it in the on position. A little loose, but it's working. And it does slide it to the off position, so I think that's a good switch. Even though it's rather iffy, God, the pins are bent. Try and straighten them without damaging anything, but it's been knocked sideways and backwards and all over the place. But if I can at least make it sit on the board properly, it will at least look like it's half decent. Oh, we've still got that other broken pin there. Do I need to take that out? I don't think that hole has been desoldered properly. No. No, I think the other pin's fine, even though it's broken off. Well, that was lucky that it broke the one pin that doesn't matter. Sometimes you get very lucky. I mean, possibly you could have actually swapped the bit around in there and actually made the switch work on the other half using the same bits, because a lot of these switches you can swap the internals around. That's a lot better than it was. Unfortunately, it smashed this plastic bit a bit. What have we got here? We can just about glue that back in, I reckon. Which way does it go? Oh yeah. I might put some Aerodite on that, at least it'll be half back in there. The other thing I need is a belt for that. But yeah, they're a bit thicker rubber, these ones. So they jam it into the dial pointer bit. Yeah, that's probably pretty good. We'll see, but yeah, they jam into that bit a lot better. I think we've got to maybe just stretch it to make it a bit thinner and push down. Nearly. Come on, in you go. Well, that'll do for test purposes. Ooh! No! Don't come off the bloody pulley. Try and get that on without any twists and get it actually on the thing, which I'm not sure if I managed to do that last time. Let's have a look. It's rising a bit. And it's rising again. It's about to come off. Okay, it was rising up and coming off this pulley. And it seemed to be that pulley was very loose at that end. This one's reasonably tight. That one could tilt up and down all over the place. So I've actually shoved a bit of the end of a cable tie folded over itself into the little split part. There's just a little split post thing that you squeeze together and the pulley comes off. So just to push it out. It seems to be behaving itself fairly well. I also suspect that this belt was actually meant to go behind this thing. It looks like something's been rubbing on it. Behind that post there. Now my little bits come out. Might have to glue that down in there, I think. Makes a bit of noise, but it seems to behave better when it's behind that post. And it slips when it needs to when you get to the end. But that's about as good as I can get it. I think it's just this cheapo plastic they made it out of. As something's worn away there. Still pulling to one side a little bit. And yeah, it's pulling up a little bit on this other pulley. But it's the sort of situation you could spend hours trying to work out what's actually worn in this. But yeah, it really wants the whole mech thrown away, I think. But just to get this going, I'm going to put a bit of Aerodite on that. But that one, to my eye, even looking at this angle, has sort of fine lines, almost like a fly screen effect. You can see every square or every little rectangle as it is. That is much more like fine dot pitch sort of stuff. So it looks quite a bit better. So the geometry roughly, that one's a little bit more on that side. That one's is a tad wide. 3 there, that looks, yeah, that one's a little bit more narrow. So that one looks narrow. That's got better squares. That one's squeezed there. And slightly wider screen. Yeah, this one's got more of the bottom row. And that just finishes off nicely. The tube finishes off nicely to the opening. Oh, this one doesn't. It's got a bit of a blank bit down one side. Maybe it's just not positioned the best. It's got this top bit. Is it actually straight? For some reason it almost looks bendy. Probably just the tube isn't sitting perfectly straight. And it should, I never touched this tube, it should have been shifted across and up a bit maybe. Because we're probably losing, we're not really losing any phosphor at the edge, maybe a bit at that edge. So they didn't mount it the best. But yeah, I think I definitely prefer the Matsushita tube. Like, yeah, each one of these lines on this is kind of a pattern of dots, whereas this is like line. You can see the lines going down it. That's got more convergence errors as well. This one maybe because of that patterning it looks a little sharper, but I think this tube might be a little bit softer as in the focus, so it's probably had more use. But yeah, definitely a bit narrow on this black band. But other than that, I think they're basically very similar. But yeah, to me that white really stands out. It's really only the whites as having a lot of patterning on it, whereas this one's just much finer. But they're basically the same television. I think I'll give the Matsushita tube a little bit of a advantage over this other one, because this is often how these little sets look. They've got lots of lines, quite obvious. Obviously once you start using them you don't really take much notice, and they're only there just to get a little image happening, and no purity area with them standing on their back like that, so that's a good sign. I would have thought that would upset them a little bit, but that's got those going. I think that's about all I'll do with those at the moment. And besides maybe remove the label off this one, or at least get that gluey stuff off. There's still a little bit of dirt down that gap's come back. But it sort of solves the mystery for me why they look exactly the same, because they are almost exactly the same. Even in that mode, the Panasonic tube, you can't really make out the dots. Whereas that one you can see a definite set of lines down it. So a bit of an interesting one showing the difference, because I know I've got a few national TVs around here and they've got the similar setup. I don't know if they did it with the later ones, but the sort of 80s era ones and maybe into the early 90s have definitely got that same sort of pattern. And you wonder whether there's any real difference in these. I mean, they used to call them the Quintrix tubes, but I think that was more to do with the lens setup inside. Like an extra lens or something inside Quintrix puts a better picture out front or something, was their little thing they used to stick on the front of your TV when you bought a new one and using their advertising. But that is the other interesting thing about them, is they did change the dot pitch sort of layout on the front. The phosphor stripes as such are broken up differently. So it goes to show different manufacturers did have their little quirks. But really, in real use, you're probably not going to notice a lot of difference. Only seems to be on the brighter parts of the picture this one shows up. But makes a slight difference. And yeah, I'd definitely prefer the JVC made set to the Taiwanese made one, but there's not a lot of difference in them. This one was probably a fair bit cheaper than this one, and probably a few years later as well. Of course, probably also brought the price down a bit. And yeah, who knows whether there was a difference in price between the Hitachi tube and the Matsushita one, or National Panasonic type one. But all makes a bit of a difference. That one's kind of a bit darker colour than this one as well. Not that that really matters when the TV's off. It's a slightly different aluminium or phosphor setup. But at least that's got those two tidied up and running. So thanks for watching.